I have never been more positive about the future of Gosford than I am at the moment. What does it mean to me to be able to walk along the beach at the start of the day? It clears my mind, it relaxes me.
My typical day starts on the water. So what's so beautiful about this area is that I can get onto my kayak at Wagstaff, and it's a very peaceful way of getting to work, obviously. But it's also time to think, and without question that quiet time and the zero frustration time that you have is wonderful.
So my typical day starts at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. If I get the chance, I like to take a walk along the Gosford waterfront. It's a beautiful waterfront, and especially because it's close to home and it's close to our businesses, I really enjoy having the time to do that because I don't have to travel.
Realise how lucky I am every morning when I get up and have a look at that beach. And, take yesterday morning when I was able to actually run along the beach and watch the dolphins and the whales playing in Terrigal Beach. You don't get to do that if you live somewhere else.
When you wake up and it's still in the morning, straight away, okay, yeah, it's paddle morning this morning, and it's a minute to get on the kayak, and then you're gone and your mind is empty. It's a meditation. You're out there with the birds and the silk on the water, and then there's a bit of brekkie. I mean, I'm ready for work no matter what happens after I've had a paddle. I've got to be at work by 8:30, so 8:25 I'm out the door. I teach at Prison Waters Secondary College, senior high school. My specialisation's Aboriginal Studies. I love teaching. I love the fact that every day, every single lesson, every single hour, I get a whole bunch of 30 new kids come into the room, and it's almost a show. Like, I really am entertaining them with my knowledge and trying to pass on what my world is to them and what's important to me to them. By day I'm a teacher, but I think a lot of people know me in the community because of my Paralympic career. I've been to 6 Paralympics now, 2 silvers and a bronze playing wheelchair basketball, and I switched sports to sailing, and something I've done since I was a little kid, and we won a gold medal sailing in London, so I've got my dream set on Rio now.
It's amazing how many people in Sydney have some idea that when they're heading towards the Central Coast, they get on the expressway at Wahroonga and they feel as if they're heading towards Ayers Rock. And I think it's all the trees. I think it's the national park that separates Sydney from the Central Coast and the Hawkesbury River that really defines the difference between the Central Coast and everywhere else. And so it appears to be a long way, but in reality, it's a bit over an hour's drive. There are many industries that call Gosford home, many businesses call Gosford home, and it's very diverse. It's very diverse. There is more a critical mass of manufacturers, and the reason for that is that they're close to Sydney. You'll see, that's the whole point. They're close to Sydney. When you're getting supplies, it's only they bring a container in from Port Botany. The other area that is growing at an interesting rate is the IT and communications industry.
Blink Mobile's a sort of company that couldn't have been around a few years ago. We're based in the cloud to start, and the cloud is all about having a worldwide capacity to deliver computing any place, any time. And in order to use the cloud properly, you need quite wide bandwidth. So we've got the NBN here. That gives us the big pipe into the cloud. That allows us to transact business anywhere in the world. Having the ability to have clusters of intelligence and clusters of knowledge and clusters of creativity almost anywhere just leaves open a whole load of new lifestyle choices. And I think if we look forward, we're not talking about necessarily consuming more and more, we're talking about doing things better and better. And doing things better and better is knowledge, and it's about application of knowledge, and it's about people collaborating and that sort of thing. And the opportunities of building this highway that allow you to collaborate, they're pretty much endless. It's the next generation. And Gosford's participation in that. We're very fortunate.
There's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of optimism in the air at the moment from our business community. The outer-lying suburbs, I suppose, are now starting to strengthen themselves, and actually all of the chambers are now starting to work together collectively for the outcome and the good for everybody. The New South Wales Business Chamber are now realising that, you know, the reality of Gosford being the centre of the Central Coast and the regional capital of the Central Coast is a reality, and that's what collectively we can work towards. And you know, there's a whole heap of, you know, as I say, the optimism is great. You've got a government department about to be relocated to Gosford with 250, 300 jobs. And 12 months ago, that was probably unheard of. We're about to launch major developments of the redevelopment of Market Town to build a new library and university access. And we're about to start the next stage of the waterfront development. We've approved some in-principle plans for a performing arts centre of 1,000-seat capacity. All of those things go to strengthen the overall business opportunities and the business strength that's here on the Central Coast.
Some of the things that I like about Gosford is that there is a real sense of community, especially around the CBD. I mean, there is a great business community. Everybody gets on with each other. Everybody works together. So there's a really good feeling, you know, that comes from that, and it's a really good community feeling.
You've got this wonderful city on the waterfront. It's on the NBN. It's got train lines. It's got all those things, and then all around it, all these sort of seaside communities and valley communities and that sort of thing are like a string of pearls that surround it. And each of those communities in that string of pearls is building its own culture.
This place is absolutely perfect for bringing up a family. Look at it, it's just, I don't know, it's relaxation, it's outdoors, it's freedom and it's possibility, and there's so much space for families to go and enjoy. There's picnics, there's beaches, there's walkways, there's waterways, there's bike paths, there's kayaking, there's sailing, you name it, it's all here for families. For a lot of people on the coast, sport's a way of life, and the facilities here are absolutely fantastic. I mean, I've just got the leisure centre up the road with every sport option available under the sun. So there's basketball, there's netball, there's soccer, there's the pool, there's the gym, there's all sorts of fitness classes. But then the kids are all playing rugby and they're playing soccer, they're playing league. We've got all sorts of champions trophies around. And then why not the Mariners? I mean, every time the home game's on, there's a cult following there and I'm part of it.
I think the big advantage of being able to do business on the Central Coast in Gosford is the rent. The rent is really cheap. You know, you're talking premium rents in Gosford of being $350 a square metre. You're talking very bottom end rents in the metropolitan area being $450 to $500 a square metre. So there's a huge cost benefit analysis straight away. In addition to that, you've got a really loyal workforce that live on the Central Coast. They live here because they love it. They want to work here because they love it, and they want to be part of the community.
Now, the big question when we're talking about looking at the Central Coast is lifestyle, and lifestyle starts with real estate, having a home. Now, there's no way in the wide world it can be disputed that you can get almost double the value on the Central Coast as you can in Sydney.
I think the Central Coast is really affordable, and you've got a lot of great choice of real estate here as well. So take your time to have a look, and there's something here that suits everybody's needs.
The prices of larger homes, you know, for those people who are going to run businesses, they are definitely cheaper than Sydney, and there are beautiful places around here as well, of course, because of just the massive numbers of beaches and waterways and lovely valleys. So there's a lot of stock of quality homes. The other part, though, to affordability is your time. I mean, you should put a price on your time. If you're going to spend time getting to work, your 2 hours a day getting to work, start factoring that in, or 1.5 hours, 1 hour getting to work. Factor that into your calculations about how much your housing's costing you and how much your lifestyle's costing you, and all of a sudden the equation changes somewhat. Because if you start costing it, and you reckon that most of our people have no more than half an hour to commute, most of them less, unless you go by kayak and work it into your work day, The real cost of living here, I think, it's much less.
I think the community and all the residents on the Central Coast really welcome someone with an entrepreneurial spirit. Like in any business, if the right thing's been done by the community, in terms of the product, the service, and everything like that, you'll find that you get really, really good support.
We've got a group of councillors who are saying yes, and the new general manager that's come here, who started in January, and they've set it out. Gosford is open for business. Under new management, open for business, and they are open for business. It's got to be what's good for Gosford, and that's what there is. Is it good for Gosford? Is it good for the community? Is it good for the Central Coast? That's their three criteria.
The change that's going through the community, and I suppose the anecdotal evidence and the discussions that I've had with the many business people that I've spoken to over the last 9 months says to me that it is a community that's well and truly ready for change. It's a community that's just looking for that catalyst to make the major change. It's a community that's saying, we know that we can do it, we know that we can make this place something special.
Gosford is spectacular. I moved from Paris to here and I absolutely love it. I've bought a place and I'm here to stay. It's just beautiful. Waking up to the sound of the birds, the smell of the water, the fresh air, there's no traffic, everything's close, it's easy, lifestyle's outside. Why wouldn't you live here?
I'll give you an example of why it's so great. It's when you come to the end of the day. It's nearly 5:30, I'll be heading off, and in 10 minutes, I'll be home. A glass of wine and a scotch with my wife and discussing what happened through the day and watching the sun go down. Now, you don't do that in the city, because in the city, you're still in the train, trying to get home, with the crowds. And that's the greatest thing about living on the Central Coast. You can be home and relaxed.
You can get home and have all of the opportunities and all of the fun of being part of the family, rather than being that person that just comes home late at night and leaves early in the morning and you recognise him by, oh, that's the photo on the fridge. We're here, we want to make a difference, we want to help you realise your dreams.